I'm going to show you how to remove your window trim so that you can measure and change one of your window glass units. You are 100% going to need a 4X hammer, also known as a 4 hammer. When I use the ladders, I like to have one of these standoffs because it gives you a nice bit of comfortable range so that you can be away. So if you're doing gutters, fascias, painting, you're always away from the work surface as opposed to being leant up against it. So one of these standoffs, they just clip on like this and they make a world of difference. All they do is get your chisel or scraper or anything like that and then just wedge it in there like that, see, and then that gap opens up and then it's loose then, so you can just work it out all the way down and then work it out all the way up, see, and then that just pops out. You got to remember what one's left and what one's right. So we'll leave that one there, and then next we want to do is the bottom one. So same again, always work from the centre. Once we go in there like that, there you go, see it pops up, and then just a case of knocking it up like that. See? Oh, that's not quite enough. Bloody maniacs. I would use probably something better than something like this old thin thing. But you know, there's a little gap in there, and you just need to get under that gap. You probably try bashing it from this corner as well. You just need your edge to be thin enough to pop under and then pull out. That's a bit too flimsy. I'm going to change that for a better. We've got a couple of things here to try. We've got the moon knife, which is a glazing knife, so we'll use that for window and door fitting. We've got a sharp chisel. Now, I would say don't use a sharp chisel because it can split your bead, yeah? But if you're having difficulty with it, here's a little technique that I like to use. So get it wedged up with a sharp chisel, don't bang too hard, and then you can kind of prise it off as you go along, like this, see? There we go. There you go. Bend and fold and twist it right into there, that's it. Cool. This one's super tough. There we go. That was really tough to get off. But anyway, the inner pane's blown. There's packers in there. Now I thought that it blew from this area here because you can see it spread out from that direction. But these things do just tend to blow. Let's get a little measurement on that. And that's going to be, let's make that 485. Maybe be a little more generous. 490 would be a nice squeeze in there. And then same again up there. Let's go 490 by, I think that's 795. 490 by 795. So let's write that down in our notes. Always work in millimeters. So 490 by 795. Windows don't really come as standard. And then what we're going to do for our next calculation is the thickness. So they always come in loads of different thicknesses. Just got to check this one. So go to the back there. That looks about right. So we'll do a couple of areas. So it looks like 30mm, and it's so we just need to check a couple of areas really. I mean, that could probably pass as a 26mm window, which is pretty standard, to be honest. Yeah, I think we can get away with a 26 there. That's slightly over. Yeah, I'd say that's a 26mm window after taking a few measurements. And then I suppose we want to just kind of bang it straight back in there. So when you're doing these windows, you always want to do the bottoms and the tops, and then you can get a nice big bend to squeeze in the other rail. And this is where your plastic hammer comes in really important, because without the plastic hammer, I don't think that's ever been taken off. I think I might lubricate that when I put it back on. Anyway, there's a little track here, and then that just bends into there like that, and then you have to hit it quite hard. That's why you should really have, see, like that. That's why you should have a forehammer, and you can change these heads as well. Change it to copper or brass, depending on what you're doing. I'll clean all that off with some PVC cleaner. Always got to leave a good job behind. The same again here, so just find the back of it like that. I think that's going to be like that. There we go. And then just rest it against there, and then get it in there like that. Beautiful. And then we're going to send that to the glazer and then get this panel replaced.